And welcome to my channel, Untold Tales. Today, I'll be breaking down an action fantasy movie called The Warrior's Gate. The story follows Jack Bronson, a gamer-turned-hero who is magically transported to ancient China. There, he must rescue a princess and face extraordinary challenges, relying on his newfound kung fu skills to prevail. The movie kicks off with an intense clash in a bamboo forest. Three ancient warriors are locked in a fierce battle near a chained woman in a red dress, her face hidden behind a veil. It's unclear whether they are trying to save her or do her harm. Suddenly, the scene grows more ominous as a massive figure, the Black Knight, enters on an equally imposing horse. Wielding an impossibly heavy sword, the Black Knight exudes a menacing aura. The three warriors, once fighting one another, now join forces to take on this formidable opponent. However, their combined efforts fall short. The Black Knight skillfully deflects their attacks, dispatching them one by one with ruthless efficiency. Just as victory seems assured, a towering figure, a full head taller than the Black Knight, emerges. This giant, armed with a colossal sword and wearing a grotesque skull mask, challenges the knight. His raw strength is overwhelming, and he manages to disarm the Black Knight. But the legendary warrior proves that brains can triumph over brawn. Using his wits, he defeats the giant with nothing but two sharp bamboo pieces, turning the tide of the battle in a clever, unexpected way. Abruptly, the scene shifts. The epic fight was part of a video game, and the Black Knight is revealed to be Jack Bronson's avatar. Jack, a teenager reveling in his gaming skills, celebrates his virtual victory. The moment is short-lived, though, as Jack's mom bursts into his room. In a panic, he tries to exit the game, but she sees through his efforts. Turns out, this is only the second most embarrassing thing she's caught him doing this week. Instead of getting angry, she shares her worries about their financial struggles, including the possibility of losing their home. She urges Jack to focus on his studies and aim for a scholarship, as they can't afford college. Jack, though concerned, promises to find a solution. Later, Jack goes to a local cycling park to clear his head. As he rides around, he brainstorms ways to help his mother. Despite working part-time at a Chinese antique shop, the job doesn't provide enough income to make a real difference. While at the park, a group of bullies, led by Trey, confronts him. Refusing to back down, Jack quickly kicks dirt into Trey's face and escapes on his bike. He takes refuge in the antique shop where he works. Mr. Chang, the shop owner, notices Jack's frazzled state and mistakenly assumes he's gotten himself into trouble. Offering advice, Mr. Chang encourages Jack to stand up for himself, but Jack admits he feels too small to take on Trey and his gang. The conversation shifts to work, and Jack helps Mr. Chang move a shipment to a secure location. Before the day ends, Mr. Chang presents Jack with a gift, an antique wooden basket from Beijing. That night, Jack places the basket in his bedroom and goes to sleep. Suddenly, the basket begins to glow brightly. A warrior from ancient China named Xiao emerges from it and wakes Jack by placing a sword at his neck. Xiao demands to know the whereabouts of the Black Knight. Terrified, Jack explains that the Black Knight is just a video game character. Xiao doesn't understand the concept, but realizes the legendary warrior is fictional. Disappointed, he introduces a beautiful woman, Princess Su Lin, who emerges from the basket. Xiao entrusts Jack with protecting her at all costs before vanishing back into the basket. Su Lin asks if Jack has any weapons, but the confused boy says no. Disappointed, she introduces herself and requests food. Jack prepares something in the kitchen, but by the time he returns, Su Lin has fallen asleep. The next morning, Jack wakes up to find Su Lin practicing martial arts in the backyard. Panicked, he distracts his mother to keep her from noticing the princess. Thankfully, his plan works, and his mother leaves for work. Later, Su Lin expresses a desire to explore the world. Jack takes her to a shopping mall, where she gets contemporary clothing. When they return home, Jack's mother is surprised to see Su Lin. Jack quickly lies, saying Su Lin is an exchange student from China. He convinces his mother to let her stay in the guest room. The next day, Jack's mom leaves for a work trip, and he promises to keep the house tidy. At first, everything seems fine. However, three thugs suddenly jump out of the basket and attack Su Lin. Though a skilled martial artist, she is distracted while protecting Jack and is ultimately captured. The thugs carry Su Lin back into the basket. Jack, frightened but determined, grabs a frying pan and follows them. He discovers a ladder inside the basket, leading to a mysterious place. Summoning his courage, Jack descends. He emerges in what appears to be the interior of a hut. To his surprise, Xiao is nearby. The warrior deduces that Su Lin has been captured and scolds Jack for his failure. Jack runs outside, hoping to find her, only to discover a massive army waiting to attack anyone who exits the hut. The soldiers fire arrows, but Jack narrowly avoids being hit. Realizing he's in ancient China, Jack panics and insists he wants to return home. Xiao points to a wizard meditating in the next room and says only he can help Jack to do so. Right at this moment, the army outside begins to attack, which seemingly wakes the wizard from his meditative state. He then freezes each and every soldier outside, giving himself, Xiao, and Jack a chance to escape the hut. As they begin to traverse the nearby hills, Jack asks the wizard to send him back, but the latter replies that the basket, which was a portal between two worlds, has been destroyed in the attack. He will now have to build another gate by using 4 different kinds of wood from 4 different trees scattered across ancient China. Jack then asks about Xiao, and the wizard gives a brief history of the warrior. It turns out Xiao is a part of 7 warrior children raised from birth only to protect the emperor. The only person who could defeat them was the king of barbarians, named Aaron the Cruel. The brute used deceit to poison all the warriors and killed the emperor. By the end, the only people left alive were Princess Su Lin and Xiao. The wizard then adds that he searched through his seeing stone to find the greatest warrior to protect the princess. That is when he found the Black Knight, Jack's in-game avatar, a ferocious and clever warrior. Moments later, the wizard orders Jack to help Xiao bring the princess back to safety. He then teleports away to go and find the required wood for the gate. Elsewhere, Arun the Cruel is hatching a cunning plan in his stronghold. The 3 thugs who kidnapped the princess were his henchmen, and they are currently bringing her to the stronghold. He plans to marry her and grab the throne of ancient China. Furthermore, Arun instructs his men to find and kill warrior Xiao, the last remaining member of the 7. On the other hand, Jack gets his first taste of what life is like on the road in such a dangerous place. He tries to take a short nap, but sees Xiao hiding under his shield as if to protect himself from rain. The day, however, is clear with absolutely no clouds. Then, suddenly, 1,000 arrows drop down from the sky like hailstones. Jack hides behind a nearby rock just in time, while Xiao casually blocks the arrows with his shield. The warrior then says that the enemy army randomly shoots arrows from time to time, hoping they get lucky. Following this, the 2 of them make it to the magical gate that marks the beginning of Arun's area, infamously named the Unknown Kingdom. They soon come across a wooden bridge that hangs precariously over a dangerous cliff. To add to their troubles, their way is blocked by an evil witch who is cooking soup in a huge pot. "Would you like some?" she asks. Xiao tries to reason with her, but it inevitably ends in a fight. The witch uses her dark magic and manages to push Xiao down the cliff. The warrior is on the verge of falling when Jack gets a brilliant idea. He takes out a burning log from underneath the soup pot and chucks it straight at the witch. This causes the evil spirit to lose her power, and she is eventually reduced to ash. In exchange for saving his life, Xiao teaches Jack a few essential techniques of ancient martial arts. He trains the youngster so that he can parry enemy attacks and retaliate immediately. The next day, the duo finally makes it to the outer boundary of Arun's stronghold. Xiao knows there are too many guards between the outer boundary and the heart of the stronghold, where the princess is kept. The 2 of them will never be able to fight such an overwhelming number of enemies. Thus, he comes up with a rather ingenious idea. Xiao and Jack casually walk into the stronghold, allowing themselves to be captured. Soon afterward, Arun welcomes them, explaining how he plans to marry the princess and become the emperor of ancient China. He also gleefully announces that the 2 intruders will be executed on his wedding day. Then, just as Xiao had hoped, Arun locks them in the inner chamber of the stronghold. This way, Xiao and Jack make it into the heart of their enemy's territory without having to fight. That night, when a guard comes to give the prisoners their food, Xiao chokes him out. He then sets himself and Jack free, and the two quickly locate Princess Su Lin. This is when their plan finally falls short. Our heroes have safely reached the princess, but now they have no idea how to get out. Things only get worse when the guards discover that the two intruders are missing from their chambers. Soon, a host of barbarians is making their way to where the princess is being held. But just when all hope seems lost, Xiao comes up with yet another masterstroke. He starts making a circle by opening some holes on the floor using a sword he had stolen earlier. Right when the entire host of barbarians finally reaches the chamber, the floor breaks down from all the weight. All of them drop several stories below and are incapacitated. Our trio of Jack, Xiao, and Su Lin then run outside and quickly grab some horses. Unfortunately, their luck runs out, and they are shortly stopped by Arun the Cruel himself. He chucks them back in their cells and prepares to marry Su Lin the very next day. Now the task to save her becomes even more difficult, as there's no way out of this hellhole called the Unknown Lands. But just then, Xiao sees a magnificent butterfly landing near the window of their prison cell. He whispers something to it, and it soon flies away. Shortly after this total Lord of the Rings ripoff has occurred, a weird green smoke enters the princess's cell and gets absorbed into her body. The following morning, Xiao and Jack are forced to watch as the king of barbarians begins the marriage ceremony with Princess Su Lin. But strangely, the priest officiating the marriage looks awfully similar to the wizard. The ceremony moves swiftly as the priest asks the bride and groom to kiss. Arun eagerly lifts the princess's veil, only to be stunned. Her face has transformed into that of a reptilian monster. At that moment, the priest discards his disguise, revealing himself to be the wizard. Chaos erupts as the wizard frees Xiao and Jack, restoring the princess's face to normal. Together, the four battle the horde of barbarian soldiers under Arun's command. The wizard's powerful magic, Xiao's exceptional combat skills, and Jack's newfound abilities shine in the fight. However, they are vastly outnumbered and forced to retreat. Jack and the princess climb into a giant catapult, launching themselves far from the barbarian stronghold. Meanwhile, the wizard uses his powers to teleport away with Xiao. The scene shifts to hours later, with Jack waking up in a dense forest. He and the princess have landed miles from the stronghold. Unfortunately, Arun quickly tracks them down and captures the princess, chaining her once more. A dazed Jack musters the courage to face Arun. At first, he's outmatched, taking a brutal beating. But as the fight wears on, Arun grows exhausted. Seizing the opportunity, Jack drives sharp pieces of wood into Arun's neck, finally ending the brute's reign of terror. In the aftermath, Su Lin is crowned Empress of ancient China, and Jack returns home through a newly constructed gateway. The next day at school, Jack confronts and defeats his bully, thanks to the techniques he learned from Xiao. He later turns his incredible adventure in ancient China into a video game, selling it for an astonishing sum, enough to save his family from eviction. Subscribe for more videos, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel.